Ladies and gentlemen, here to sing America the Beautiful, Grammy-nominated Scott Steiner.
Give me a fucking mic! Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light when so strongly I flexed kisses pecs, it's their best. With strong back and big legs, I could lift Hulk Hogan over my head, 'cause he's not incredibly fat. Unlike that small Joe, he's so fat. From the land of the freak and the home of the big bad booty daddy. And I think Triple H one touch crap. I'll come down there and show where real man's like, 'cause Stephanie knows she likes it from the big bag of booty daddy. Look at this, just look at this, look at this fucking muscle, man. God, yeah, I don't know. I want you so big, you're walking backwards through the wall, doors, wall holes. And I think you want to come to my house and tell me that I can't do stand recliner. Well, you know what, Stephanie? Maybe you just need a real man. You know what I mean, a real man? You fucking look at me what I do, boy. I'll spy your shoes if I want to. I've wrestled countries, and you know what else I've done? You get my bags. You get my bags.
Play ball. Randy Orton hears voices in his head.
Oi,
Randy.
Oi, Randy.
Oi, Randy.
I've got a great idea for your next match.
Yeah.
You should do the fucking RKO, because you never done that before, have you?
JBL has high praise for Randy.
You build a sports entertainer from the ground up, that's what it looks like.
Okay, so why isn't he entertaining? Did you forget that part when you were building him? Easy mistake to make, I suppose. JBL misses playing on his Atari Jaguar.
You don't corner a predator. Predator corners you.
Randy takes out J&J Security because nobody anywhere is tired of seeing people take out J&J Security, and then Randy gets psyched up to hit his finishing move, the George R.R. Martin. Seth Kickings rolls out of the RKO and then sets up for the Phoenix Sploosh, but Beth Phoenix isn't in the mood right now, so it fails. Seth tries to reenact a gif he once saw from American History X, but then Randy Orton goes AWOL from gravity and hits the RKO out of nowhere, and gets the win. How did he manage such an improbable move? It turns out he's secretly a goth Hogwarts princess, and he used Wingardium Leviosa. Buy yourself a bunch of wrestlers and treat them like playthings, forcing them to fight until their parts don't work anymore, and you have to stick them on the shelf until people forget you even had them in the first place. Also known as being Vince McMahon, Vegeta is at ringside attached to Ronda Rousey's chest.
God damn it, Nappa, this isn't the UFC.
Speaking of Dragon Ball Z, we then have an unnecessarily long and tedious flashback to the events leading up to the fight between Triple H and Sting. For the first time in the history of anything that matters and quite a few things that don't, Sting makes his grand entrance into his first and only match in the WWE. And given that it is Sting we're talking about, a man from Nebraska who wrestled almost exclusively in American companies, they have him come out to Japanese tenko drums. Meanwhile, actual Japanese wrestler Hideo Itami is sat backstage wondering if anybody noticed he was even in the ring. Sting's music plays, and members of the band Nickelback who are rumored to be in attendance are heard to say the words, "Wow, that music isn't very good, is it?" Sting comes out dressed as a sparkly beefeater or something. Well, whatever it is, it's not a Japanese man, despite what his WrestleMania entrance theme would imply. Then someone takes pity on the crowd at Levi's Stadium and nukes San Francisco from orbit. First New Jersey, now San Francisco. We're not going to have many states left by the end of the year, are we? Oh wait, it turns out that was just a shitty clip from the even shittier trailer for the most shitty Terminator Geneshit. That's shit spelled with a Y. Why? Because fuck you. The cameraman gets bored and starts playing his copy of Fallout New Vegas, and then the dumbest thing in the history of anything that has ever happened happens. Triple H decides to try and intimidate Sting by coming out flanked by Terminator statues from the Universal Studios ride that got torn down last year, while wearing a costume that looks like Tom Phillips' mother made it. However, Triple H neglects to realize that Sting is close friends with RoboCop, and if we've learned anything from video games, it's that RoboCop can tear through a Terminator without breaking a sweat. Now, if he came out riding Ed 209, we might have a different story here. Triple H walks down to the ring carrying a number of Terminator skulls. Oh, so he's a Terminator who's going through an identity crisis and thinks he's actually a predator. And then an emotionless robot appears on screen to support Triple H. And then once Roman Reigns has said his piece, Arnold Schwarzenegger does the same. At last, the torch has been passed from one politician to another. Michael Cole insists that the Terminator entrance was symbolic of something. I can only assume that it symbolized that this match, much like Terminator Genesis, would have been much cooler if it happened in the 90s. Badass manly wrestler Sting faces off against Triple H, and the crowd starts chanting that this is awesome, even though nothing has happened yet. Apparently, all it takes to impress a WWE audience is to never wrestle in the company and then show up with an anachronistic Asian entrance. Sting dominates Triple H at the start of the match, causing Jerry Lawler to transform into the announcer from the 1960s Batman show.
What? What's this?
Triple H is put into the Scorpion Deathlock, a move named after the Scorpion King's deathly performance at the box office, and then Degeneration X shows up to help out their erstwhile friend Triple H. Because if anything represents their anti-establishment and Rage Against the Machine attitude, it's Triple H, the COO of WWE, one of the biggest companies in the world. Sting! Don't do that! Triple H grabs the sledgehammer they keep under the ring just in case Gallagher makes an unscheduled appearance, and then a delusional Grandpa Terry runs out, closely followed by his carers, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, who are carrying a bedpan and nightgown for him, desperately pleading for him to return to the hospital. Grandpa Terry throws acid into the faces of all those who oppose him, calling them a bunch of sorry moose tenderizers, and then he grabs Triple H's sledgehammer, claiming it to be a weapon meant for communists. He then starts violently making out with the sledgehammer, naming it Jillian, and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are forced to stand there and watch while an old man makes love to an inanimate object. Scott Hall attempts to hit the razor's edge on Road Dogg, but Road Dogg miraculously adds a fourth move to his moveset, hitting him with a backdrop instead. The Cheesecake Kid Shawn Michaels comes into the ring and hits Sting with the Wheat Thin music right in front of the referee. But it's okay though, as the referee had already removed his retinas from earlier in the night during Triple H's entrance, and so he doesn't see anything. Billy Hammer hands the sledge gun to Triple H, and then Sting breaks Triple H's hammer in half by shooting it with his baseball bat. Jerry Lawler's Magikarp finally evolved.
That minnow has just turned into a shark!
Then the match culminates in a less than decisive victory, which involves Triple H just sort of rolling over and lying on Sting to get the pin. Symbolic of the Monday Night War, which just sort of ended when people stopped caring about it. Degeneration X celebrates with Triple H, while Grandpa Terry berates Sting for murdering his new girlfriend Jillian. Meanwhile, X-Pac suffers an existential crisis as he realizes that he's technically on both teams, but neither of them want him. Triple H stays true to his word and erases Sting's legacy from the face of the map by respectfully shaking his hand, which for some reason Sting accepts, even though he got clocked in the face with a fucking sledgehammer to lose the match. New, original series are coming to the WWE Network. Without a paddle star, and Allison Hannigan's former beard Seth Green is making South Park. Only without the biting satire. It'll still bite, but for different reasons. The director of Jackass and Bad Grandpa is making a WWE show called Swerved. The WWE and Jackass are a perfect marriage of concepts, as while Jackass is a show about people occasionally once a week risking injury and then laughing it off if things go awry, the WWE is a show where people risk injury on a constant basis, and then if they raise a single peep about it, they get fired. And then Jerry Springer shows up to complete the trilogy of TV shows that have been been ripped kicking and screaming from the 90s where they belong. Diva Search is returning in 2015 because apparently the WWE has done literally everything they can with their current diva roster and needs to search for talent elsewhere that they can also showcase so effectively. Daniel Bryan celebrates winning the Intercontinental bumper sticker, and then he is interrupted by several legends, including Pat Patterson, The Maniac, Steamboat Willie, Ric Flair's credit card bill, and then Bret Hart shows up to complain about why the Intercontinental title isn't bright pink. Hey, Ron Simmons, what famous landmark provides electricity to Las Vegas? Damn! Skylar Grey, Travis Barker, and Kid Ink perform live in an attempt to appease the angered WrestleMania sign. Fortunately, the rest of the arena is spared, as the WrestleMania sign sees fit to only eat Kid Ink. He was a sacrifice that the sign demanded. A Mountain Dew commercial featuring a twerking dog and a breakdancing reindeer is still more dignified than Triple H's entrance. Pissamania is running wild down my leg, as I'm actually going to force myself to watch this Divas tag match. Heavenly Goddess with no flaw, Paige makes her WrestleMania debut alongside AJ, whose long and fruitful career with the WWE is likely to be bolstered even further by this extremely exciting and highly anticipated match. What's that? Oh, she left the company like a week later. Really, that's soon? Okay, first of all, you're fucking lying. Second of all, why are you naked? Oh. I think you vastly misinterpreted our relationship. Jerry Lawler is a drooling, barely functioning lech.
I'm glad these two aren't mind readers, Cole. Why? I'd get my face slapped a lot.
Yes, because you'd have to be a mind reader to want to slap Jerry Lawler in the face. It's not as if he's constantly saying perverse and douche-chill-inducing phrases like some sort of nightmarish pull-string toy. No, you'd have to be fucking Diana Troy to want to harm a hair on Jerry Lawler's head. Just for fun, let's try reading Jerry Lawler's mind right now! Bebs, slap that bastard! AJ is so enthusiastic about her role in the tag match that means absolutely nothing that she gets knocked out at the beginning and barely takes part in it. It makes you wonder why she quit when she was given such a memorable WrestleMania moment. JBL knows the Bella Twins' dark secret.
They have been twins for most of their lives.
Because apparently, at some point they decided not to be twins anymore, and then changed their minds soon thereafter. AJ hits her finisher, the Black Widow, and gets stuck in a forced romantic subplot with Mark Ruffalo. Jerry Lawler is the straw that broke the camel's back.
You know what the fear of giant is called, don't you? What? Fee-fi-phobia. Well, I didn't agree with you, JBL, but now I'm wearing orthopedic shoes. I stand corrected.
So much. The bleach bomb, roof raising, stand facing,
Okay, so I really didn't have much of a punchline for that one, but fuck you, I went to WrestleMania. There is a sentimental video package that highlights the hero in all of us. Because remember, so long as you're over 6 foot and not a woman, you can do anything you put your mind to. 5'11", you're kidding yourself. Michael Cole asks us to send in our own personal stories of heroism by using the hashtag #MyHeroIs. Oh, here we go. Hashtag #MyHeroIs, whoever ends up replacing Michael Cole on the announce team. Oh fuck, is Tom Phillips my hero? I must have really low standards for heroes. The announce team compares the stats of both competitors in tonight's WrestleMania main event. But they forget the most important stat of all, which is how many pounds of grease will Roman Reigns' hair be infested with. After all, the greasier the hair, the harder it will be to grapple with him.
Yeah, but the only thing that doesn't show on that tail of the tape is the size of the heart.
Unless it's a match featuring the Heart Foundation, in which case the size of the heart would be a necessary feature. This is what happens, Jerry! You see what happens when you just let let puns get out of control? This is what happens, Jerry. Are you satisfied? The WWE Hall of Fame entrants for 2015 are presented to the crowd, and then Kevin Nash comes out at the end and pins every other inductee, proving that he is undisputably a bit of a cock. You can recreate all of the WrestleMania 31 matches in WWE 2K15, and this time Big Show doesn't have to win. In fact, WWE 2K15 is such an accurate simulator of a wrestling pay-per-view that they even included all the ridiculous load times that you have to wait through to see the stuff that you actually paid to see, such as the load screen that we're looking at right now. It's time for the match that 8-year-olds will be talking about in their school playgrounds for months to come. John Cena versus Rusev for the United States Championship, with the second stipulation that whoever loses smells of poo-poo, caca, and doo-doo, and their home country smells in a similar fashion. Russian soldiers lead the ravishing Russian Lana down to the ring while the Russian national anthem plays. And then up on the stage, several Russian artillery cannons fire a salute to their champion. Meanwhile, in the midst of a cocaine-induced stupor, the Iron Sheik narrows his eyes at the television set and says, "That's a bit much, isn't it?" The Russian national anthem manages to be less offensive to the audience's ears than Sting's entrance music. Rusev makes good use of his years playing Grand Theft Auto on the PlayStation 2 and spawns a tank in the middle of the arena. He manages to lose his 5-star wanted level by being in a John Cena match, which automatically stops things from reaching 5 stars. Before John Cena comes out, he is preceded by an American montage of various American presidents talking about how great it is to be an American living in America. If you combined the speech from Independence Day with the entirety of John Wayne's filmography, it still wouldn't be as patriotic as this shit. There's even a moment where we see all the US presidents combining to form Voltron. It's weird. Then, following this rousing montage of American pride, John Cena comes out and everyone boos the shit out of him. But they do it as Americans, united in their booing. Rusev insists that he be introduced first. That cold-hearted snake. Are there any depths to which you won't sink? Why won't you be nice? Like John Cena, who doesn't care when he is introduced, so long as introductions still occur. Fuck you, Rusev, you monster. I hate you so much. So yeah, Rusev gets introduced first. Jerry Lawler reduces an international conflict to a minor footnote.
As Russia against the United States, but John says it's more than that. This is John Cena, personal against Rusev.
Right, because the USA taking on Russia is far less significant than John Cena having a bit of a spat with a guy from Bulgaria, who happens to live in Russia now. Yes, that's a good history lesson. Cena and Rusev wrestle for a little while, which again is much less significant than two countries on the brink of war, and then Rusev takes a break to wave his flag around a little bit. Funnily enough, this still manages to be less offensive than the time at WrestleMania 7, where Hulk Hogan used the American flag to wipe blood off his face. Apparently, being a real American involves using the stars and stripes as a handy wet wipe. Cena gets Rusev in the prindle, and Lana attempts to distract him by throwing her shoe in the ring. I guess you could say she turned heel. Your fault. You make me do this. You! Rusev lubes up Farouk's asshole and starts to put Cena in the acolyte, but then John Cena reverses it and does a springboard stunner. Hang a tick. Did John Cena just add a new move to his arsenal? Let me just make a quick phone call.
He's calling his people.
Quiet, you. Hello, Satan? Yes, it's me, a wrestling fan. Yes, you're intimately acquainted with my sort, I figured. I was wondering, what's the weather like down there? Oh, cold, you say? Ice cold? Would you say that maybe hell is freezing over? Oh, you would. Fascinating. Has this ever happened before? When Christian became heavyweight champion? I suppose that makes sense.
He's calling his people.
I'm on the phone. Rusev accidentally knocks Lana off the edge of the ring. And really, what was she doing there? Trying to wrestle? Really? A woman doing that? Know your place, Lana. And then Cena puts him in the AA Milne and brings the United States title back where it belongs, in the hands of a bland, inoffensive white person. The most American qualities a person can possess. Rusev blames Lana for the loss of his US title, which is a shame, as if he had demonstrated his ability to blame women for all his problems during his title reign, more Americans might have taken to him. Lana slowly makes her way to the back, having lost her shoe. It's just like a scene from Cinderella, except instead of obnoxious cartoon mice, we have to deal with this obnoxious cartoon shithead. Oh, those Russians. WrestleMania 32 is going to be in Dallas, Texas, where due to severely lax legislations on firearms, Sting's baseball bat will be perfectly legal. We return briefly to the WrestleMania whack-off panel, who spend the entire segment trying to talk up the new up-and-coming talent John Cena, while the crowd insists on chanting for that tired old product, NXT. For God's sake, let Booker T speak! He has enough trouble doing it without you distracting him. JBL tries to explain how the fuck Big Show winning the Battle Royal makes even one iota of sense.
Miracles don't work against giants.
Must have been awkward whenever Jesus met a leper who was over 7 foot. Sorry mate, miracles don't work on giants. You're a bit of a twat, Jesus. Triple X starring Vin Diesel and Stufer are in the ring, announcing that they managed to fit 76,976 fans' heads up Vince McMahon's dusty asshole, setting an all-new record. Stephanie remembers being 8 years old at WrestleMania 1, watching Andre the Giant slam Big John Studd, angered by the fact that John wasn't just some new brand of liquor that he hadn't heard of. Stephanie says that the evolution of the WWE wouldn't have been possible without her, because until now, she'd been holding down the B button on the gamepad, preventing it from doing so.
I guess the truth hurts.
Yes, but the truth can use a Z-Pack and it'll feel better in no time. No need for an actual medical exam or anything. Triple H claims that by beating Sting, he has also defeated everybody watching the pay-per-view, including me. Of course, it's a necessary fact of life that at some point everybody has to job to Triple H. I'm just glad that it wasn't the Big Show. Oh, hello, Big Show.
I'm having fun.
Great, so now I lost to Triple H and Big Show. Who's next, John Cena? I said, who's next, John Cena? I said, Star of the successful homoerotic vehicular nonsense franchise Fasting Furiously, The Rock comes out to interrupt Triple H's 20-minute promo to deliver a 40-minute promo of his own, most of which involves waiting for the crowd to shut up so he can speak.
Okay, we get it. You're happy to see him.
Stop fucking enjoying our pay-per-view, jeez! Stupid universe. The Rock announces that he is an East Bay boy, as he was born somewhere in the local area, even though on every other occasion he has claimed to be from Miami. The Rock is also from Venezuela, as that is where he was conceived, and also from United Airlines Flight 427, as that is where the sperm that would eventually impregnate his mother's egg was first created. The Rock is from a lot of different places, but tonight he's mostly from this place right here. It counts because this is where he came out of a vagina. Good job coming out of a vagina, The Rock. The Rock makes fun of Triple H for dressing up like the Terminator, which is very funny, as The Rock has never, ever, ever worn anything stupid ever. Ever. Stephanie points out that without the McMahon family, there would be no The Rock, which means that The Rock now has 2 different sets of parents, which means he now also comes from Stamford, Connecticut. For those of you who aren't keeping track, here's a handy list of The Rock's birthplaces. Guy gets around. The Rock finds himself by Stephanie as she slaps him, which makes this whole wrestling thing seem like some sort of violent soap opera, which is obviously a ludicrous comparison. The Rock steps out of the ring and acknowledges his OTP of Ronda Rousey and Vegeta.
A bunch of half-naked men dancing around and pretending to be manly. God, I miss the Ginyu Force.
The Rock has friends in low places.
You see, Steph, The Rock would never hit a woman, but I have a very good friend who would be happy to.
Oh my God! It's a picture rattlesnake! Stone Cold Steve Austin!
No, not that one. He is, of course, referring to Vegeta. Ronda Rousey stands alongside The Rock, and if it weren't for the fact that she'd probably find me and break me in half like a toothpick, I might criticize her shit acting. But no, she's a really, 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 really good actress. Really. She's like a regular Sir Ben Kingsley. Stephanie taunts Ronda.
Please tell me Rock didn't fill your head with all kinds of hopes and dreams about having some kind of WrestleMania moment.
Because as we all know, WrestleMania moments are extremely rare and hard to come by. Just listen to these announcers.
That is a WrestleMania moment. That's a WrestleMania RKO.
Guys, what an historic moment. What an absolutely incredible moment. History in the making tonight in WrestleMania. moments we never thought we'd see.
This is a WrestleMania moment. Whoa, there's a WrestleMania moment.
WrestleMania moment for AJ Lee and Paige. Moments ago, that was quite the
There's nothing
WrestleMania
funny about
moment.
this.
Coming up next is going to be quite the WrestleMania moment as well.
What a WrestleMania moment.
Okay, so maybe they're not all that sparse. In fact, apparently, this is a WrestleMania moment. This one, right here. And this one. Not this one, though. Ronda Rousey is still really good at the whole acting thing.
Any ring I step into is mine.
The Rock explains that Ronda is going to reach down Stephanie's throat, pull out her insides, and play jump rope with her fallopian tubes. See, it would be very sexist for The Rock to hurt Stephanie, but it's a-okay for him to describe her being tortured in excruciating detail. Funny even. Violence against women, yeah? After 60 stall-filled minutes, The Rock finally punches Triple H a few times, and then Ronda Rousey, the Academy Award caliber actress, put Stephanie in an arm lock. That definitely was worth the wait, right, Vegeta?
Renegade for Rousey.
Yes, Ronda Rousey has about as many facial expressions as Michelle Rodriguez. There's a commercial for some crappy old video game. Oh no, wait, that's a movie. Being released on DVD, I imagine. What cinema, really? After 2 months of talking to himself, Bray Wyatt is finally going to enter a wrestling ring. Must be really weird for him. I mean, there's nothing vague or cryptic about it. It is exactly what it is. He must be confused as fuck. Bray walks to the ring and slowly wakes up the audience. Also a bunch of people dressed as scarecrows. Bray seems to have gotten confused and thought he was going to wrestle Sting, as he really wanted to scare a crow. Bastard! The Undertaker makes his one-time-a-year appearance at WrestleMania, which is somehow twice as many appearances as the WWE Champion has made since winning it. The entrance is really spooky. At least it would be if the California sun wasn't shining down on it, making it look like an episode of the Teletubbies. The Undertaker is so frightening that he elicits this response from a terrified crew member. The Undertaker does like all of his old moves, which gets everybody very excited as they didn't think he could do them anymore. Meanwhile, Bray Wyatt isn't able to do any of his usual moves as he was injured shortly before the pay-per-view. As a result, this match immediately wins the Slammy Award for Most Ironic Match of the Year. Bray slowly gains the upper hand, and the announcers theorize that he might beat The Undertaker, to which Jerry Lawler responds,
Guys, come on, just say no to negativity.
yes, trying to predict the outcome of the match is being negative. Instead, let's be optimistic. I hope that literally everybody wins every match. There, not so cynical now, are we, Jerry? Bray does his creepy spider walk all the way up to The Undertaker, who responds with his own chilling display of sitting up. If only Bray had anticipated that The Undertaker would do this, he might not have been so taken aback. I mean, it's not like he was calling out his opponent for 2 whole months or anything. You'd think he might have watched at least one of the guy's matches before deciding to challenge him. Still, hindsight is 20/20. Or as Booker T would say, hindsight is... Everybody tombstones everybody, and then everybody wins. Yay! Chris Jericho is bringing his podcast to the WWE Network. The first episode will consist of 50 minutes of shilling for Me Undies, followed by 5 minutes of shilling the new Fozzy album, followed by 5 minutes of an interview you could have probably heard on anybody else's podcast. Extreme Rules is being compared to extreme sports, because apparently wailing on somebody with a fake garbage can lid is exactly the same as doing this. Speaking of things that have absolutely no business being compared to actual sports, the WrestleMania main event is here at last. Wank Pheasant Roman Reigns makes his 50-mile walk down to the ring through the crowd, which seems pleasantly short compared to the Triple H segment earlier in the night. The announcers question whether Roman Reigns deserves to be here or not. After all, he only won 2 pay-per-view matches and wrestled at every show for the last 2 months. Whereas Brock Lesnar totally deserves to be here, as he bothered to show up once or twice. Roman's mild smugness is elevated to never-before-seen levels, as as he poses in the middle of the ring and pyro goes off around the arena. Roman has achieved a level of smug-varna. He is the Super Saiyan of smug. He is Captain Smuggy O'Hare. Everybody goes, ooh, at the fireworks, but everybody at home is very confused because it sounds like they're going boo, but they're fucking not. So get that idea right out of your head. Everybody stops going ooh and starts cheering for Roman Reigns, the clear good guy in this storyline. But it's also very confusing because they start cheering for him right as Brock Lesnar's entrance music starts. It's almost as though they're cheering for the other guy. But that would just be daft, wouldn't it? Brock Lesnar's pyrotechnics are so afraid of him that they forget to go off until he's halfway to the ring. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for the pyrotechnics guy, who died shortly after the pay-per-view in mysterious suplex-related circumstances. Roman Reigns is introduced first, and the crowd starts booing wildly because they already know his name as they're such huge fans of his, and they don't like being patronized. Paul Heyman's 15 seconds on the microphone to introduce Lesnar gets legitimately the biggest reaction of the pay-per-view, which is weird because it didn't require him to have a ridiculous Terminator-themed entrance. The match begins, and somehow Roman Reigns gets F5'd before the two wrestlers can even touch each other. Brock's face is bleeding, unless you're watching the Australian version of this pay-per-view, in which the blood is replaced by perfectly harmless flower petals. Brock suplexes Roman Reigns from one side of the ring to the other, but Roman Reigns' mild smugness cannot be broken. He continues to smile to himself the entire time he's being obliterated. It's kind of like that scene from Fight Club, where that guy beats the shit out of Brad Pitt, except that the plot twist here is that instead of a split personality, Roman Reigns has no personality. Brock hits the 73rd suplex of the match.
Suplex City, bitch!
Brock is of course referring to Frank Miller's Suplex City, a series of comics featuring Mickey Rourke suplexing a bunch of prostitutes. Walk down the right back alley in Suplex City, and you can find anything. Usually suplexes, though. Every time that Roman gets the slightest amount of offense in, the crowd starts going "Doo," which is short for "Do more of that, Roman Reigns. We really like you." Brock suplexes Roman more times than a wrestling fan can count. So more than 10 times. Meanwhile, Brian Koo walks through the crowd telling anyone who will listen that there is a Roman Reigns kill screen coming up. Roman continues to simulate a sequence from Shadow of the Colossus until several hours into the match, he finally reveals Brock's weak point. Apparently, making him bleed tends to hurt him. Roman resists the urge to say, "If it bleeds, we can kill it," because he knows it will only encourage Triple H to come out with a Predator-themed entrance next year. Roman Reigns punches Brock Lesnar in the face multiple times, but apparently it isn't enough to finish him off, even though it is his finisher. Then Roman uses his finisher that isn't a commonly used move that literally anybody else can do, and that is enough to put Brock down for a 2 count. This is the closest that Roman Reigns has ever gotten to becoming WWE champion, and everybody in the crowd lets out a collective sigh of relief, except for Vince McMahon, who lets out a sigh of orgasm. Roman gets laid out by Brock, and now both men are down, which makes sense as Brock must be exhausted from carrying Roman through this entire match. Booker T adds up how many times Roman has been suplexed. 9. Oh, come on, Booker, don't just guess. Use some actual method. Oh. That's actually right. Good job, Booker.
Oh, shucky, ducky, quack, quack.
Yes, nobody moves for a good while, a spot inspired by Big Show's career, and then Seth Rollins' music hits and he scurries down to the ring, carrying the golden briefcase that contains Ving Rhames' soul. At ringside, Roman Reigns' mother gets extremely upset, as she was hoping to see Brock tear the shit out of her son. Catharsis for months of diaper changing and mildly smug breastfeeding. Seth Cashings rolls in his Money in the Bank contract, and the main event is now a triple threat. The 3 threats in this instance being the members of the commentary team, threatening to remove all tension from the match. Everybody hits everybody's finisher at the same time, creating the Super Curb F Stomp. It makes absolutely no sense, but then that never stopped Booker T. Or this. Seth Winnings rolls the WWE Championship by pinning Roman Reigns after whispering something into his ear as tribute to his favorite film, Lost in Translation. Speaking of Lost in Translation, JBL reacts.
First time in WrestleMania history, someone's casting Money in the Bank and walking out.
Seth treats the WWE title with about as much respect as anybody who's held the Intercontinental title by whirling it about his head like a dead cat. And Michael Cole closes the show by describing it as the greatest event in live entertainment. And then he turns off his private feed to the Swedish women's volleyball tournament and says, yeah, that WrestleMania was okay, I guess. And so another WrestleMania has come and gone. And all I can do is think about the many touching moments that we've shared with the WrestleMania sign. Let's relive those right now. Good night, sweet WrestleMania sign, and a flight of Kurt Angles suplex thee to thy rest.
That is a WrestleMania moment.
That's a WrestleMania RKO.
Guys, what an historic moment. What an absolutely incredible moment. History in the making tonight in WrestleMania. Moments we never thought we'd we'd ever see.
This is a WrestleMania moment. Oh, there's a WrestleMania moment.
WrestleMania moment for AJ Lee and Paige.
What a WrestleMania moment.
31. We had an awesome time being here. Thank
It's cute because Roman Reigns is shit. Da 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 da. I love Grandpa Terry. He's just like he just does random shit. Jerry Lawler's Magic Carp finally evolved. Bitch. Meanwhile, X-Pac suffers an existential crisis as he realizes that he's... Yes. What's that? Oh, shut up, Mozzarella. I'm talking. Are you sure about that? Yes. Why are you naked? Oh, I see. Chill-inducing nightmare... Ah, fuck. That's my tongue. Enjoy that. So long as you're over... That's the lesson. Michael Cole. You can recreate all the WrestleMania 31 matches in WWE. That's the name of the company now. WWE. But it even includes all the load times that you have to wait through to see something. What? And that... Shush. The Russian national anthem manages to be less offensive to the audience's ears than something. Fuck. Manages to be less offensive to the audience's ears than fucking. Apparently being a real American involves using the stars and stripes as a handy wet wipe. Rusev lubes up Farouk and starts to put Cena in the Acolyte, but then John Cena in... JBL tries to explain how the Battle Royal winning the Big Show... That also doesn't make sense. Even though on every other occasion, he has claimed to be from... To introduce his client, Baroque Lesfuck, it's kind of like that scene from Fight Club where Brad Pitt... What is it, like a Knight Rider, Pulp Fiction? Pulp Fiction? He wasn't in either of those. What am I saying? It's kind of like that scene from Fight Club where the guy beats the shit out of Brad Pitt... He beats the shit out of a broom, apparently.